What is up, guys? In today's video I'm going to be making a tier list of all of the weapons and items in chapter 3 season 4. So I made one of these last season and people said they found it really helpful, so we have a new one for this season. I don't really use the heals or the exotics in these tier lists because I feel like the heals are pretty straightforward and the exotics usually aren't that good, and it's more just like a unique weapon kind of for the memes or just if you find it fun to use. But that being said, if you guys do enjoy this video or find it helpful or informative, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and comment down below something you disagree with this on. I'm sure there's going to be some items that maybe I rank really low that you really like, or really high that you don't like. So let me know in the comments below, and let's get right into it. But before we get into that, just a quick shout out to today's sponsor on the video, and that is going to be The Coldest Water. They make insulated water bottles that are designed to keep your water cold for up to 36 hours. They have many different sizes and quantities on their site. There will be a link down in the description where you can check them out. They also make pillows that are designed to stay cold, so like that sounds amazing. But yeah, I really like these water bottles. They hold a lot of water, and one thing that I personally like about them is that they don't sweat. There's no sort of like condensation or anything like that on them. So while you're gaming, you don't have to worry about keeping your hands wet, which if you watch this channel, that might be a concern of yours. But check them out in the description if you're interested, and let's get right into the video. So we're going to start off with the newest item that was added to the game most recently, and that is going to be the Cobra Dmr. I'm going to put this at A tier. I think this weapon is really good, and it isn't broken. So like when we had the MK7 in chapter 3 season 1, it was busted. When we had the AUG in chapter 3 season 2 and onward, it was busted. And I feel like this Cobra Dmr gives us like a first person like super accurate weapon in the game. That way we don't just have bloom based weapons, but it isn't just like entirely game changing that you have to use it, like how the launch MK and like how the launch striker burst rifle was. I really like this weapon. It's really fun to use. It's really good. I'm very happy they added it to the game. Zero build is so much better now that it's in the game, but I use it in build mode as well. I think this is just a really, really solid weapon. I feel like the trick is just kind of getting used to the bullet drop because it does have like a minimal amount of bullet drop. And also I've found more success when I stop trying to shoot it as fast as possible. Like I can spam the trigger and shoot it pretty fast, but I feel like I kind of hit more shots and I'm more consistent with it when I'm shooting at about like 80% of max speed. Just a little bit slower than max, and I feel like you'll hit a lot more shots, or at least that's what I've found personally. And I've gotten more used to the drop over time. So that's an A tier weapon. I feel like it's just a very solid weapon. It's not game breaking or broken, but really solid. Speaking of game overpowered and broken is going to be the Evo Chrome burst rifle. This thing is ridiculous. Once you get it to purple or better, it shoots 4 bullets per shot, and in build mode that is super common that you'll get shots through the builds when you're shooting at people. Just for whatever reason, the burst weapons that have a lot of shot in the burst, the first few will break the builds and then the rest will just like get in every time, and it's really cheesy. It's really good for taking walls. It's really good for pressuring damage. It's really good for comboing up close with the shotguns, and like kind of spoiler alert for the rest of the tier list, I think this is the best like SMG in the game right now, even though it's an assault rifle. Like, it's good at medium range, and it's really good at close range, following up with a shotgun. So I think the Evo Chrome Burst is, like, ridiculous, and I'm kind of surprised it hasn't been changed yet. Where should we go next? I guess we can go with the lever action shotgun. I feel like this is just A tier. This isn't my favorite shotgun this season. I prefer the Prime, but the lever is okay. Solid damage. It feels really good handling-wise. I feel like the meta this season would be better if it was striker pump and lever shotgun in the game, because then they're, like, kind of, you know, inverses of each other. Like the striker pump has more range and a tighter spread, but it doesn't feel as good handling wise, and it shoots pretty slow, whereas the lever would be like the snappy, faster handling weapon, faster fire rate, but it wouldn't be as consistent. And so I feel like lever and striker pump would have been a better meta, but the Prime shotgun I'm going to put S tier. I think the Prime shotgun is just the best shotgun in the game right now. It shoots faster than the lever shotgun. It has a higher max damage than the lever shotgun. And with the fully loaded shot, the gold one can hit for 190. It is the hardest hitting shotgun in the game right now. People think the Ranger shotgun is the hardest hitting shotgun, but that's just not true. The Prime with the fully loaded benefit is the hardest hitting shotgun in the game, while also having the second highest fire rate. The only one that shoots faster is the Evo Chrome shotgun. So I don't really know why I don't know why they left the Prime in. It's one of my favorite shotguns to use. Like, I use it a bunch, but I feel like the meta would be more balanced if it wasn't in the game. But the Prime is S tier. I think it's just the best shotgun in the game. It is just so good. But like I said, best damage, second highest fire rate, 4 bullets in the mag. Like, it's just really, really solid. The Ranger shotgun is also really solid. I'm going to put it A tier. But for a weapon that has only 1 shot in the mag, not being able to be the hardest hitting shotgun in the game is kind of bizarre. The fact that the fully loaded prime hits harder, you can kind of play the prime like it's a ranger shotgun and keep it fully loaded to keep having those like really good shots. But you also have the option for like 3 fallback shots if it comes down to it. I feel like you can play a similar way with the prime that you could with the ranger. It's just like less punishing if something does go wrong. The main thing the ranger has is range, as the name implies. It is the farthest range shotgun, and depending on how you play, that can be really beneficial. But just for my playstyle personally, I prefer the prime shotgun. Where should we go next? I never know where to go with these. I guess we can rank the other shotgun. I feel like the Evo Chrome Shotgun is just C tier. Maybe B, like B minus, C plus, somewhere in there. I'm going to put it in C. It's an okay shotgun. It's not exceptionally like amazing, but it has the highest fire rate, and that's what it's there for. You spam it. The lower rarity versions of it aren't very good, but I feel like when you get past that, it's a really solid weapon. I just don't really find myself using it because like the main benefit of using a high fire rate shotgun is that you don't need to have a follow-up weapon like an SMG or like the Evo Chrome Burst. But the Evo Chrome Burst is so good when combined with a shotgun. Like you shoot your shotgun, swap to the burst, shoot a burst, swap back to the shotgun, shoot the shotgun. You just kind of swap back and forth like how double pump was back in the day. And the damage output you have with these two weapons up close, I feel like just kind of negates the fire rate advantage of the Evo Chrome Shotgun. If you're someone who really doesn't like kind of weapon juggling like that, then the Evo Chrome Shotgun is fine, and you can just use it and stick on that one weapon. But I do think it's worthwhile like kind of getting used to the playstyle of weapon juggling, because the ceiling on this combo up close is ridiculous. So the Evo Chrome Shotgun, I think it's solid, but it's just kind of not that good in the current meta. Hunter Bolt Sniper is really good in the current meta. So I'm going to put this weapon S tier. I think this weapon is like kind of borderline overpowered, but not for the reason that a lot of people will think. Like the main thing they changed this season was the fact that it can hit for over 200 or 250 in zero build. It can insta-kill essentially. And a lot of people think that's overpowered, but what I think is overpowered about this weapon is the fact that it has 3 shots in the mag and you don't have to unscope to bolt it. In the past in Fortnite, we had one-hit kill snipers for several seasons. Chapter 3 was the first time where they really made snipers not one-hit, and that's why this weapon has 3 bullets in the mag. It was meant to kind of be a more spammy bolt sniper since it didn't have the ability to one-hit kill. But now they gave it the ability to one-hit kill, and it's still super spammy. So personally, I would just really like if they would reduce the mag size to 1, like how the OG bolt was back in the day, like how the heavy sniper was back in the day. I think you can have one-hit kill snipes and have that be like rewarding and fun for those players, but I just don't think it should be as spammy as it is. Like if you think of a sniper, a lot of people think of like a precision weapon, one hit, one kill type thing. And how it's being used right now, I feel like is not very like precision. People just hide in bushes or they sit on balloons or whatever, and they just constantly throw out sniper shots. So this weapon is S tier. It's incredible. I feel like this is the most easy to use and forgiving one-hit kill sniper we have ever had in the game. And a lot of that stems from the fact that when this weapon was initially added to the game, it wasn't supposed to one-hit, and they kind of changed that this season while not changing any of the other like properties and benefits they gave it, because it was designed to not one hit. So I think the Hunter Bolt is S tier. If you're a good sniper, this is a great season for you. I just don't snipe very much personally, because like the way I've always sniped is I kind of just like drag my scope over people and then like tap it when it's on them. And without a scoped sensitivity, that like style doesn't really work. And so I have to kind of like relearn how to snipe and get used to it again. Just for some reason, they took away scoped sensitivity from controller like 2 years ago. And so I just haven't really sniped ever since. But I think if you were a good sniper, this weapon is S tier. It's one of the best weapons in the game right now. I guess we can go with the other S tier item, shockwaves. I think they're just the best mobility item in the game right now. They have been for several seasons. There's just an infinite number of things you can do. You can get away from people. You can push people. You can take height on people. You can throw people off of height. You can throw people out of bushes. You can use it to shockwave you and your teammates onto something. You can break through walls using it. If you have like someone a layer under you, you can throw it on the roof and go down. There's so many things you can do with shockwaves, and already like they're just really good at pushing people or like running away from people as well. So shockwaves are one of the best mobility items in the game. Grapple Glove, I'm going to put it B tier. It's a really good mobility item, but I feel like the main difference between shockwaves and the Grapple Glove, and even the Chrome Splash, which we'll get to in a moment, is your opponent has like a say in whether or not you get to use your mobility item. You know, if you want to run away from somebody with shockwaves, or you want to push somebody with shockwaves, that's it. You're doing it. Whereas like the Grapple Glove, if you want to grapple at somebody and they shoot you, then your grapple is on cooldown. You potentially took fall damage, and you might be like stuck out in the open if you had like a half swing, you know, and you didn't quite get where you wanted to go, but now you're stuck out in the open with no mobility on cooldown. And then the same thing if you're trying to get away from somebody. Like if you're trying to get away from somebody and they tag you, your glove is on cooldown, and then you might even be in a more bad spot than you were previously. So while the Grapple Glove is great, it's just not as much of a game changer when it comes to like mobility in a fight, because if your opponent tags you, you're no longer using it. And Chrome Splash is going to be the same for that reason. It's really good in some situations. Being able to go into a blob reduces visibility. But if you're trying to push a good player using it, or you're trying to get away from a good player using it, they're just going to tag you. I personally don't really have a problem using, like, tagging the blobs. I've seen people say it's hard for them, but I don't know. I have a really easy time shooting blobs. Everybody, like my friends that I play with or talk to about the game, they have an easy time shooting the blobs. So the reason why it's kind of ranked lower is just that the opponent has the ability to counter it, whereas the Shockwave, the opponent has no ability to counter it. And then I've also seen people saying, like, oh, you regen HP from the Chrome Splash, and that's true, but it's just so slow. I think it's like 1 a second or less than 1 a second. It's really not like you're going to throw a Chrome Splash and then be like full HP again, you know what I mean? It's not that big of a deal. You can use it on your plants, so I feel like this is like a C+, B- item. It's very in between here. It's a very good item. I'm happy it's in the game, and it's infinite. If you throw it at like a tree or a rock and a structure and then pickaxe it or shoot it, you'll end up getting more Chrome Splash back than the one you threw on it. So it's a really cool item, and it's a really nice item to have in the game, but it's just not like a top tier mobility item in my opinion. It's good, but I don't really use it for mobility very much. Hammer AR would be A tier. I think solid AR, very good. Good damage, decent fire rate, not the most bloom. It's solid. Sidearm pistol would also be A tier. This is probably the most underrated weapon in the game, and it has been for a while. I actually made a video on this weapon last season, and I've had a lot of people asking me to make one this season, and I may in a few days. It's a really good weapon, especially if you like sniping. If you're a very good sniper, then you can kind of use the Hunter Bolt to cover for the weakness of the sidearm pistol that is like really long range, you know? And then you have something that just dominates mid-range. It's super consistent. The headshots on it are like 50 plus damage. Like, this thing puts people down so fast. So if you do enjoy sniping and you enjoy this weapon, something like sidearm pistol, your choice of shotgun, and then the Hunter Bolt, and then like heals and mobility could be like an insane setup. I think this weapon is criminally underrated. It's very, very, very good. Rapid Fire SMG would probably be A tier. It's okay, but I prefer the Evo Chrome Burst to it. But like the purple or gold versions of this weapon that have 26 bullets in the mag are very insane. Suppressed SMG would be C tier. I've never liked this weapon for whatever reason. Like, I don't know if I'm just a hater or what, but like there's no point in Fortnite where I really liked this weapon, and there were points in time where this was considered like a top tier weapon by a lot of people. Like, there's times where it was really good, and even back then, I didn't like it. As of right now, I just feel like it's a super generic submachine gun. It's not bad by any means. Like, it's solid. It's just, like, just not great. And that's kind of how I feel about the Ranger AR, too. I kind of want to put this, like, B-, C+ type thing. But just a very generic assault rifle. It gets the job done. It doesn't have any, like, huge problems, but it's okay. And then for the Porta Bunker, I'm going to put this C tier, I think. It's solid. It's definitely a more toned-down version of the Porta Fort, which is good. I feel like when there was a Porta Fort in play, like obviously this is 0 build item, but when there was a Porta Fort in play last season, you needed to play around that. You needed to like go up there and kill the person using it and then take control of it for yourself. And I feel like the Porta Bunker just isn't that. Like, if you have one in a spot where it's useful, that's awesome. And it's really nice when there's no cover to have one of these in your inventory. But it's not something I really want to carry very much. It's just such a situational item. And it's also something that, like, if my opponent throws one down, I'm not like, okay, we need to push them now or we need to change this fight. Like, it's just not that big of a deal. And I feel like that's perfect. This is exactly how this type of item should be in 0 build, I think. Kind of have it in the game to eliminate some of just the randomness of how terrible zone can be, but not have it be so busted that, like, once one is in play, you have to, like, play around it, like how you did with the Porta Fort. So I feel like this is, like, a perfect item to have in the game for 0 build right now. I don't know why it's in the game in build mode. I feel like there should be separate loot pools for the 2 game modes, and like items like this are perfect for 0 build, but they're not really necessary for build mode. We're supposedly getting a launch pad item, which will function similar, where you'll throw it down and it'll spawn a launch pad and then you can use it, and that'll be cool. But yeah, I don't like, that's one of those things where it'll be nice for 0 build, but if we don't have launch pads as traps in build mode because they have the launch pad grenade in build mode, that would be kind of irritating to me. But that is going to be my tier list for this season. I feel like this season's loot pool is very, very, very solid. Like I said, a lot of these C items I feel like could easily be Bs, and even some of these Bs could maybe be As. Like, I feel like this loot pool is really, really solid. I think you can make a case for using almost every weapon in the game right now. Like, there's nothing in this game where someone told me they really enjoyed using that weapon or they disagree with how I ranked it that I would be, like, surprised. Like how last season people would be, like, saying they really like the revolver, or they really like the charge SMG or the Ripsaw launcher, and I'm just like, what is this person playing? I feel like the loot pool is really solid. There's no, like, super useless items in the loot pool, and there's a few broken items, but yeah, I feel like almost no matter what you get off spawn, you're not, like, hating it. And last season there was a lot of just, like, clutter in the loot pool, so this is a really nice change. But that is going to be it for today's video. If you guys did find this helpful or informative, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and like I said earlier in the video, comment down below letting me know, like, an item or whatever ranking that you personally disagree with and how you would rank that item. Thanks for watching.